Around the globe, the vegan movement has been a growing popularity with more people than ever opting to ditch animal products in favor of plant-based alternatives. Here in Singapore alone, it's said to have a 140% increase in vegan activities. Welcome to this episode of Women's Self-Care Series Season 3. This episode will be meeting Singapore's modern-day Milkmaid Rey. Her passion for
Thank you.
milking, her passion for milking fresh, wholesome, and flavorful dairy-free milk with no compromises has led her to be the founder of the vegan milk. Let's learn more about veganism, its benefits, the vegan milk, and why it's the one you should be getting if you're opting to change your diet and become a vegan too. Let's all welcome and be healthy with the lovely Rey. Hi, Rey. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
thank you. That was such a lovely introduction, by the way, Jeannie. Thank you so much.
It's so good to have you in the show, and it's a
Thank
special
you.
day for Singapore since we are
Oh,
mask
yes.
free.
Lovely.
Although it's still optional because we still need to wear it indoors, but then it's still a big step, a
It's
big
a huge
leap. Yeah,
step, right?
yeah, it's a big, huge step. Yeah.
It is.
So it's a great day today.
For sure. And it's wonderful meeting you even without masks.
Yeah.
So,
I hope
technology. So,
I hope to meet you in person one day. Right
for
now,
sure.
it's not possible, but then I really hope that one day we'll get to do that.
Oh, we will. For sure.
Okay, to get this interview rolling, could you tell
Okay.
us more about your background and how long you've been a vegan and how it all started?
Sure. So for me, I was a corporate slave. Since you introduced me as Singapore's modern day milkmaid already, so I thought I would get into the background of it. So I was a corporate slave for 14 over years. Yeah, I was the head of marketing communications in a robotics company.
Hmm.
And what happened was it was a very KPI driven job, and I was looking for more of a purpose driven, something that is soul satisfying rather than KPI satisfying, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yes, yes.
Yes, so yeah, and I decided to explore the options because I was already vegetarian at that point. So I've been a vegetarian for 20 over years, and then I've been vegan for 4 years now. And after being vegan, the first thing I had to look for alternative was plant milk.
Oh.
And I tried all the store-bought plant milks. It just didn't make the cut for me somehow. It was too diluted. It was like chemical like tasting. I didn't like it because I'm Indian, so we kind of grow up in a household with lots of dairy milk, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to that. So yeah, so talking about how I started it, it was from dairy, I had to make my own plant milk. So my mom was actually making it for me at that point, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's actually quite nice. So I started learning from her,
Uh-huh.
and I started making it myself. And I was like,
Oh.
hey, this stuff is good stuff. Like I feel like I could do this. So that's a bit of a background. And I became a vegan because I found out how milk, like dairy milk, was derived. And I was like, there's no way I'm contributing to this. Like, if as a woman, if I'm against the whole notion of rape, there's no way I'm supporting dairy milk, because it's a milk that is meant for a baby calf and not for human consumption. And I don't need a mother cow that is raped repeatedly for its milk. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ethic wise, it was wow. I was just so blown away. You had no
Mm-hmm.
idea. I was so upset. I remember when my dad asked me, about dairy, and I started crying before I could answer him. So I was emotionally, I was really like, I had it. I'm done with dairy.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a story. Okay,
It's a heavy
see.
one, sorry.
Yeah. So you've touched a bit of your story being a vegetarian
Yep.
first, right? So I think it would be better to connect this question first Could you tell us more about the difference between being a vegan, vegetarian, and plant-based diet? Because I am not, I'm just the normal diet.
What doesn't matter? It's
Yeah,
fine. Okay,
yeah.
we are all normal.
I'm
It's fine.
yeah, and I'm sure most of our audience is too, and well, it
It's
makes us
confusing. I get it.
curious, and aside from the confusion, it's a curious something that makes us curious of why do
For
you
sure.
need to call it like this and like this. It's
Fair
not
enough.
just not eating meat, then that's it, is it? So I think you could give us more light
A
into
lot of people, yeah. I'm so glad you asked this question because when I do dine out, people always are like, vegan, so you don't take this. Okay, so just to break it down for you, okay, so being a vegan means, oh sorry, I'll start with vegetarian. So being
okay.
vegetarian means there is dairy, there is honey, and there is egg. So there is still like animal byproducts in a vegetarian diet, but being a vegan means there's completely no animal byproduct. So no cheese because there's dairy, there's
Mm-hmm.
no honey, there is no eggs, obviously, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think being a vegan also, for myself, like I
Mm-hmm.
used to like love branded stuff, so I used to shop a lot of leather stuff when I was a vegetarian. Being a vegan, it hit me that
Mm-hmm.
it's not a must, you know, if you're vegan means you have to stop, but it just made me really conscious of
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I should stop buying. So I no longer buy leather stuff as well. I mean, it's not just
Mm-hmm.
about consumption, it's a
So
way of life, you know, vegan.
mm-hmm.
And of course, plant-based is like, it's more like my husband actually, plant-based. So yeah, he's not vegetarian, he's not vegan, he's plant-based. He always calls himself plant-based. So you know, plant-based means more of like, they do not eliminate animal byproduct completely from their diet.
Uh-huh.
So but they mostly eat like, or choose to eat more of like vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, grains, you know. But
Mm.
if there is meat once a while, they still take it.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
know it. Yeah, it's, I'm hoping that this breakdown helps clear things up. So plant-based just means like
Yes.
people are more health conscious or more
Mm-hmm.
conscious about eating more plants and fruits
Mm-hmm.
as compared to meat, but they are not like completely meat free.
Mm. So I think if you put it in a stage-like basis,
Yeah.
it would be
Mhm.
plant-based,
Yeah,
vegetarian, and then vegan. Is it correct?
absolutely. Yes.
Ah, yeah. Understood it right.
You nailed it. Good job.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so being a vegan,
Yeah.
you said about consciousness already. So you sure are a health conscious lad. What other self-care activities do you practice? Because this show is a women self-care series.
Of
So
course.
I'd like to learn more and know more about your self-care practices.
Sure. So for me, I am very health conscious, I feel. I do not take sugar. I have cut out sugar from my diet for 2.5 years. I don't take rice at all. It's been 3.5 to 4 years now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'll also put a disclaimer alert, just because people say that they are vegan does not necessarily mean they are health conscious, because you know, you can be a vegan and you can still be eating junk food. I think the vegans out there are gonna hate me. You know, like junk food, like, you know, you can still be eating like your sugar stuff, like your cakes and your biscuits. But for me, I am health conscious because I choose to avoid sugar completely, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't take rice as well. But I mean, of course, it's not like I am 100% health conscious.
Mm-hmm.
I abstained from this 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I've never had alcohol at all, so I'm definitely health conscious compared to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, being health conscious, that label, you know, itself is like, I feel like I can still do more, because there are still days where, you know, if let's say my mom cooks noodles, like
Uh-huh.
vegan noodles, then I'll still consume that a bit. So all this fried stuff, I'm still trying to
Mm-hmm.
cut it down. So I'm not 100% health conscious, but I'm like 50 to 60% health conscious. So what I sorry, your question was, what do I um
what are your other self-care activities or
Oh, okay, yes.
practices? Yes, aside
Okay,
from
great.
eating. Yes.
Okay, yes. I'm
Mm,
sorry, I keep thinking
no
of food because
worries.
food is lunchtime, so I was like,
Yes,
okay, food, like what's the next thing? Okay, so
no worries.
self-care, right? Self-care, I do a lot of self-care stuff.
Mm,
I hike a lot with my dog. Yeah, we're staying at Bukit Timah area, so we always
mm,
go to like Upper Bukit Timah Hill to like hike. 2 hours flat is hiking in the morning, first thing in the morning.
mm.
My other self-care activity is just taking time off for myself to do me and be me. So, I'm not going to give you answers like yoga and all. I do practice yoga, but I'm not consistent with it. So I don't want to brag about that. But it's, yeah, I'm just keeping it real. And self-care to me is really about taking time off for myself. And even if it means like meditation, which does not, my kind of meditation is completely different. It does not mean I'm sitting down and I'm meditating, but just sitting down, reading a book, sitting down and just chilling, doing nothing, listening to music, dancing when no one's watching, or even when like my parents are watching and think that I'm crazy, doesn't matter. That's my self-care. And like, taking time to like prepare like my food with love. I think that
Mm.
itself is self-care as well. So my self-care is definitely very different from the norm. Yeah.
Mm. Well, that's what's important about self-care, and a good thing about it. You can uniquely alter it as
Yeah.
what you want, because that's the point of self-care. It's you for you. And it
Yes,
is for
100%.
to satisfy yourself, not to satisfy anyone at all. So
So
if you're
satisfying.
yes, exactly. So if that's how you uh feel feel happy about your self-care, then by all means do as you will.
Yes.
Yes, very nice. Thank you for sharing that. And
But what do you do for self-care?
oh, me, I'm a mom of
Yes.
two. So for me, time off
Precious.
also is, yes, it's precious. And I've been very blessed to have a husband who is so understanding. And you know, they say that taking a bath isn't a luxury, but then if you are given by your family that time off, even if it's just within the house, you don't go out, but then you have this pleasure of time just to do your thing and just do
Great message. What
yeah.
you're putting out there is a great message, because a lot of times, like, I feel like people, or generally women,
Mm,
since we are speaking about women self-care
mm.
series, right? I think women tend to like associate self-care with like self-pampering. You have to go for expensive,
Yes,
luxurious spa,
exactly.
mani pedi. No, people, it can be free, absolutely free of charge. It should be so
Yes.
satisfying. It shouldn't be pocket breaking, right?
Yes, exactly. That would actually, that kind of self-care will damage the other aspect of self-care, which is the financial side. So we
Of
want all
course.
the aspect of the self-care to be, just this great moving,
Yeah,
normal moving. Yes.
yeah,
So
of
no
course.
breaking of pockets.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, yeah.
so
It's a great
satisfying.
message that you're putting out there, Jeannie.
Yes,
Well done.
and thank you for that. Okay, let's get back to
Sure,
this eating and being a vegan. So
sure.
another question that most people would ask for sure:
Mm,
where do you get
sure.
your protein?
Trust me, when I first went vegan, I was questioned by my entire family about this. So, okay, just to share, vegans get their proteins from multiple sources: your tofu, your tempeh, edamame, broccoli. There is countless amount of sources of protein you can get as a vegan. And in
Mm,
fact, while I'm here on the self-care series, I thought I'll
mhm.
share with you that broccoli has more protein as compared to a steak.
Is it?
Yes, it is. Please go verify and Google check it or whatever. But yeah,
Oh.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to just share. But yeah, in terms of protein,
Mm.
I think people don't have to worry about protein because you know, I personally believe in living wholesomely, right?
Mm.
So when you're eating things from Mother Nature, you are definitely taken care of. And when I say Mother Nature, I'm talking about wholesome vegetables, wholesome fruits, your nuts and your seeds, everything
Mm.
that has good sunlight to support its
Mm.
growth. Right, you're definitely
Mm.
taken care of. So, which is why I want to share about the broccoli versus the steak as well. Yeah,
Okay, so that's
yeah.
such an eye opener. Let me tell you. Yeah. Okay. What next is what are your go-to recipes? Can you give us a sample of how your meals on a day look like?
Sure. Okay, I don't really have a go-to recipe to be honest, apart
Mm.
from my smoothie, because I like to evolve. So, part of self-care is also about like evolving. I can't eat the same thing like most days, right? Some people can,
Yeah.
I can't personally. So I believe in having a colorful meal since I am vegan anyway. So for me, I don't eat rice. So what I do is I have bulgur wheat or quinoa as my
Mm-hmm.
grain, right? And then I'm Indian, so my mom, she cooks amazing Indian food. So I
Mm-hmm.
have my dal or whatever curry, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have like minimum two stir fried vegetables, and I also have like salad at the side. So when you look at my plate, it's always colorful. Indian food is like my go-to. And then there are days where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want Indian food. I don't want curry, so it's just salad, but it's got to be really colorful. Because
Oh.
they always say eat your rainbows.
Yeah, I was about to
And
mention
so that's
that.
very important. Eat your rainbow, and your body will thank you. And my go-to recipe, like I was saying, right? There's only one go-to recipe that I use. I mean, obviously, I'm Singapore's modern day milkmaid, so I have my fresh nut milk or seed milk, and then I put in celery, I put in spinach, and I add a fruit of choice. It could be a mango or papaya, whatever. But fruit, only one fruit. It's more of like vegetables with
Mm.
fresh nut milk, and you just blend it up in your mixer, and you get a smoothie. Yeah,
Ooh, lovely.
yeah, it
It
is.
it 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 looks it I can imagine it being so
I can
tasty,
imagine.
but then
I
you
just
know.
added this morning.
Okay. For you to inspire more people, can you share more, because we've talked about all the benefits of being a vegan, we've touched all those. I'm sure there are also challenges. So how did you face it, and what are those? Maybe you could share some to us for
Sure.
us.
Challenges 100%. Okay, I think for me, I think having to convince my loved ones, that was a challenge, because both
Mm.
my parents come from the medical background, so they were very concerned. Like where you're gonna get your calcium from, your protein from, and blah blah blah. That was my first challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's about educating and taking that patience and time to sit down and educate people and say, look, nothing's gonna happen. Let's try it out for a week, and then you can look at my health and whatever not. So, it's really about being patiently educating loved ones. Sometimes, you tend to lose your patience with loved ones. But for me, I had to be really patient because my mom, typical Indian mom, she will ask me this question like every other month, every other week. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just explained this to you. And then she asks me, like, why don't you have milk? You're such a rebel, blah, blah, blah. So dealing with that was a challenge. But you know what's the crazy thing? My mom became vegan too.
Oh, I was about
Yeah.
to ask that also. Have you
She was a
influenced
vegetarian
someone
with me.
already?
So she was a vegetarian with me. She became
Mhm.
vegan, but also because for her case was completely different. She had some health issues like with gastritis, so I had to take off like dairy.
Mhm.
For her to like fully experience like going dairy free, like being vegan, and
Mhm.
it benefited her health so much that after 4 months, right, her
Mhm.
polyclinic appointment that she went for, the doctor was like, "What happened?" Then she said like, "My daughter happened. She just put me on an all vegan thing and everything." And within 4 months, she was completely fine, pink of health. So thank God for that.
Mm.
So that was her changing point to become vegan. So she did it for health reasons. I did it for animal reasons. And then my husband, he is not vegan. He's mostly plant-based, okay? So he he stopped taking dairy completely.
Oh.
And like he feels the difference. And
Mm.
because he's a coffee guy, so people are always like, how am I going to have coffee without milk, right? So yeah, I managed to convince him with, yeah, and with one of the milks, and he loves it so much. He's never looked back ever since. So I'm very proud that I managed to like influence them in the right way
Yeah.
without pushing for it. It's like they see and they do it willingly.
I think that's the most important thing, It's they
Yeah.
I think we just grow up to be adults, but then the way we
Mm.
think and the way we follow other people is the way the kids do it also. So
Oh
we
yeah.
follow as how they really do, how adults do. So we, as for children, they don't mind all those words that you tell them. It's how you act around them that they would
Sure.
copy.
For
So
sure.
your example is a very good one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it worked for two adults at home. So yeah. And the other challenge, right, just to share while
Mm,
we are on it, right?
yes.
Because I'm quite a health conscious person. So
Mm.
other challenge was to find like health conscious vegan food.
Here in
Because
Singapore.
yeah, in Singapore it's tough. In the other parts of the world, US, in Europe and Australia, no issues. But in Singapore, it was a struggle because everywhere I went, it was all about the impossible meat, impossible this, impossible that. I was like, oh my God, like people, I need non-processed, clean, vegan food. And that was a
Mm.
challenge, I'll be honest with you.
Mm.
Like even till date, right? It's a challenge because in a lot of F&Bs, they do put sugar in their food, or like there's something. So I feel that it's constantly a challenge. So for me, don't really eat out much. And places that I go to are like, I make sure that it's really like I know what's in their food.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's very limited. So I feel like hopefully Singapore will come up with more healthy vegan options as compared to mainstream vegan options. Yeah.
Mm. Well, maybe after the vegan milk, you can start up with a restaurant as well. Let's see
Too
about
much
that.
work. Too much work.
Hey,
Too much
do not
work.
just, you don't say no immediately. We'll see someday.
We'll
Who
see. We'll
knows?
see.
Who knows?
For now, it's too much work with the vegan milk. So I mean, if that happens, I'll be really happy because I completely understand health conscious people and their struggles. But
Mm.
yeah, if not, I'm happy if someone can just open up that option so people can go to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so with a 140% increase of vegan people in Singapore, so I think one of these days we won't be shocked to have to see not just one or two, maybe a
Oh
lot
yes,
more.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
for
sure, for
sure.
sure, for sure.
Okay, let's talk about the vegan milk. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
yes.
You've been tagged as the modern day
Modern.
milkmaid. Yes, how
Okay.
did it started? I think you've told us a bit
About
earlier,
the
but then
yeah.
yes, but then can you share more about it?
Sure. So like I was sharing about my mom's health thing. So
Mm,
I started milking for her
mm,
because she had very bad gastritis, and she was on the verge of what's that called, pre-diabetes.
mm,
And I was very concerned because I was like, I need to get my Indian mom off her dairy milk because
mm.
growing up in an Indian household, like I've shared, we love milk, we love dairy milk. Okay, at least for my household, we did. And my mom is like, she is one person who can drink like tons of milk on her own. She doesn't even need to eat anything. She can just drink milk. So weird, I tell you. So yeah, so taking her off dairy, right, was a huge challenge because someone had to make the plant milk, right, at home. And it was me, obviously. I'm the only child, so I had to do it. So I had to milk like different kind of like plant milks. And I was like, and when I saw the improvement in 4 months, right, with her gastritis and her sugar and everything like just disappeared like that, I
Mm,
was very convinced that if I could do this for my mom's health, I could do this for a lot of people.
mm,
And it was not easy convincing my mom because she's so used to dairy, right? So if she likes my stuff, I'm very confident this can go out. So that's actually what started, like that's how I started my journey as the modern day milkmaid in
Mm,
Singapore. Yeah.
very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about milk. What's the
Yes.
difference between the dairy milk and this plant-based milk? Or what do
Okay.
you call it, vegan milk, or how do you
No, you just call it plant milk or
plant milk?
nut milk. So like,
Mhm.
yeah, example, like if it's an almond milk,
Mhm.
people call it plant milk or nut milk.
Mhm.
Or if it's like, let's say if it's a seed milk, like a pumpkin seed milk, then
Mhm.
you just call it a seed milk, but it's
Mm.
generally coined as plant milk.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah. So the difference between dairy and plant milk is a lot of difference. Okay, so I'm trying to see how I can break it down summary so people don't switch off.
Okay.
Okay, so for dairy milk, right? I'm not sure if you know, but dairy has been associated with a lot of diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart diseases, Alzheimer's, etc., etc. I don't want to go too much into it. Um, and plant milk is completely different because it's all natural. I'm talking about homemade plant milk. I'm not talking
Oh,
about the packaged ones that you get in stores with tons of additives, sugars, gums, oils, fillers. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
okay.
about homemade plant milk, which is
Mhm.
basically fresh plant
Fresh.
milk. So I'm talking
Mhm.
about the difference between plant milk and dairy milk. And of
Mhm.
course, in order to get dairy, right, mother cow is they use a rape deck and they repeatedly rape the animal so that they can produce milk for its calf, right?
Mhm.
So plant milk, nothing of that is done. I'm just milking nuts and seeds, so it's completely fine. I'm not taking away a calf or anything. And also, before they inject mother cow, right? What happens is they inject antibiotics as well
Oh,
into
the
into
cow.
so basically, yes, correct. So what happens is, if let's say if I'm to like offer you, okay, Jeannie, you're not well, take antibiotics. If I keep giving it to you every day, you're gonna be like, there's no way I'm gonna take antibiotics every day because it's a drug,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so yeah, but people don't realize there's antibiotics content in their
Then
dairy milk
milk.
as well, because
Oh.
they antibiotics that's injected into the dairy cow
Mhm.
is actually going into
The milk.
our milk. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And
So yeah, and that's when things like health disasters happen because you're consuming antibiotics without even realizing it, and they're not going to put it out on the nutritional labeling that's antibiotics
of
because
course.
if it's yeah, of course, right? Yeah. So the food standards in Singapore have to
Mm.
be, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I didn't say anything, but yeah. Anyway, yeah. So people have to be more wary, and people have to take charge of their health. And I
Mm.
think I mean, so many information is readily available in Google. I mean, this day
Mm.
and age, we're not living in a world where it's 20 years ago or 30 years ago where information was not readily available. Do your research, people, and do whatever feels best for you, like, because I know a lot of people unknowingly are taking dairy because I mean, I'm a Singaporean, so growing up being an Asian, like, I always grew up with the notion, like how in schools they say drink milk for good bone health, drink milk for wonderful calcium. If you don't take milk, then something bad is going to happen to you or something, you know what I mean?
Yes,
So we
yes.
all grew up, like, being Asians, like, I think
Mhm.
most of us grew up with that notion. So I think in this day and age, it's very different. If this was like 100 years ago, where example, I'm speaking about this country called India, right?
Mhm.
Where farmers used to rear cows,
Mhm.
and they used to feed the calf first, and then they take the milk for themselves to drink it. That's completely different. Nowadays, milk is such a supply and demand thing, right? That they have to keep injecting, for a mother cow to keep producing, because if not, how else are you normally going to produce this much of milk to feed
Yes.
like so many countries, so many millions of people across the globe, right? So I feel like
Mm.
people need to start thinking for their health, and as well as, I mean, if people are, like I always say, if people respect motherhood, then they should also respect that dairy milk is meant for a baby calf. Yeah.
Such an awakening.
Yeah, I hope more people like waken up because we always see like packaged dairy milk, right? I used
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
I should not say any brands. Anyway,
Okay, I'll put a toot on that. Don't worry.
never mind, it's fine. I used to milk. I mean, everyone here there, and then I remember there's this package. Sorry, see, I keep saying plant milk because it's been so long since I had dairy. So I remember seeing packaged dairy milk on the aisles of like cold storage or supermarkets where you have like beautiful green pastured greens and then the happy cow is just smiling. It's far from reality, people. Far from reality. I wish there was a happy cow smiling when so much
They're
is
being
going on
milked.
for them. Yeah, it's so sad but it's far from the reality. Yeah, so if people really want to look into their health, they gotta rethink their glass of dairy milk. Mm.
I'm speechless. Okay.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Okay, especially when you talked about this antibiotics being injected to the cows. I mean,
Oh,
it is said that you shouldn't be drinking antibiotics for a long period of time because your body will get used to it, and by the time you need it, really need it, it won't
mm,
make any effect on you anymore. But here we
yeah,
are drinking milk every day.
yeah, yeah, because it's
And
fantastic for us.
antibiotics. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So much of stuff, there's so much of stuff in a dairy. It's not just antibiotics, so many stuff, like even packaged plant milk, to be honest. It does not make it any better or worse, to be honest, but the only thing good is obviously there's no antibiotics in there, right, for
Mm.
packaged plant milk. But I always encourage people, yes, I know I sell fresh plant milk, but if you can make it at home yourself, it would do your house so much good. If you don't need to buy it, just make it yourself. It's not rocket science. Of course, the cleaning up and getting that particular taste and flavor, that's a whole new different ballgame. But
Mhm.
if you can do it yourself, please do it yourself. Like, you can be a family activity where people do with the kids as well at home. Why not, right?
We'll see about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. You mentioned about calcium earlier. How do you
Yeah.
get your calcium with this?
How's your mother?
Without dairy.
Oh yes, calcium, right? So
Yeah.
calcium, you can get it from your chia seeds. You can get it from sesame seeds. I'm sorry if you hear my dog barking. She's barking
No
away.
worries about that. She's
Yeah.
excited about being vegan.
Oh, she's plant based as well. Like she's been
Oh,
eh. No, no, no. Okay, she's not plant based. She's vegetarian. She's
hmm.
vegetarian. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She's not plant based. She doesn't eat meat.
She has a better diet than me. Okay.
There's a better diet than me too. There's a better diet than me too. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, calcium. Let's go back to calcium. So
Okay.
for calcium, if you look at it, 100 ml of dairy milk compared to 100 grams of sesame seed. Sesame seeds have more calcium than a cup of dairy milk.
Oh.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah. You
Oh.
can do a Google verification check, okay?
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we
yeah.
just need a little bit more of researching.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, which we don't
Yes,
use.
yeah, which people don't care about because convenience. You see, a lot of people love convenience, and what happens with convenience is with convenience comes fast food, example, which is not great for our body. With convenience comes a longer expiry, which is terrible for our body. And with convenience comes so many health issues. So I think it's time for people to rethink convenience and really look into things like holistically. Yeah.
I think one convenience they can do is just watch this show and
Oh, of
save
course.
themselves from the research. There you
Yeah,
have
yeah, of
it, all
course.
the information, right?
Yes, yes,
So I
yes.
think that's one purpose of this show also, help them save their time from research and just, feed their minds
Yeah,
with,
that's a good one.
okay, what
That's
are,
a good
what
one.
are the things that I really need to know? Okay, here it is. And here are the answers. We've
Yes, yes, yes.
covered.
Yeah,
So,
it's good. It's a good summary. I'm so glad you're doing this because sometimes people, I mean, in this day and age, people don't really have the time. And especially if they're moms, they're so busy, they just want
mm,
to like know things fast. And I'm so glad that you're doing this for so many of them. Like it's so
mm,
beneficial. So I'm hoping that people take away a thing or two or more from this, and like more people just do their own research to like see what suits them, because we can't go and tell people, oh, you have to do this, you have to drink this. But
exactly.
we can share information. So yeah, I'm
Yes.
happy to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There a lot of competition of your vegan milk here in Singapore? I'm not sure because you've mentioned earlier you're having trouble with some vegan food. Not sure with milk. But if so, what makes your milk the best one?
Okay, I never believed in competition to begin with because I'm over. I'm not in corporate days anymore. I'm doing my own business, so I love it to take things slow and organically. So I don't believe in competition. But having said that, there is definitely packaged plant milk out on the shelves, with convenience, longer shelf life,
Mhm.
blah blah blah. But I don't regard them as competition because it's a different target market altogether. I'm sure there are fresh plant milks in Singapore as well, for sure. And
Mhm.
I feel like everyone is doing, it's a niche community, and I think everyone's doing their part for people, and I think that itself is beautiful. So there's no competition. People should just choose what's best for them. And having said that, why I think mine is the best, I don't think anyone can actually say theirs is the best, because I feel like there's always someone else out there in the other parts of the world that's going to give you, like I don't ever want to be that corporate thingy, the best and that. I'm over it. So for me, I will speak for my products. We actually put in 50 to 60% nut content, which is very high nut content compared to a lot of brands out there.
Mhm.
And ours, it's very creamy, right? It's very, very
Mm.
creamy. And I have this particular milk called the golden milk, right? For instance, what happens is for the golden milk, we don't use packaged spices. So it's not like I buy like packaged turmeric or packaged ginger or black
Mhm.
pepper. Basically, I use like fresh turmeric root, fresh ginger, black pepper, dry it out in the sun, and then yeah, I make it into a paste for my golden milk. So a lot of labor of love goes into all my milks. Like it's not as straightforward as you just buy it from a package. So when a lot of my customers and subscribers, what I appreciate about them is the fact how they appreciate my stuff, because when people have gastric and they get like my golden milk, or like
Mhm.
even recently with the spike in COVID cases, I had a lot of people who reached out, drank my golden milk. I'm not saying that my golden milk is a cure, people. It's not a cure,
Yeah.
okay? It's not okay. A disclaimer alert. But a lot of people have experienced like their fever just dipped after it, their cough felt so much better, their flu, decreased and stuff. So all these things like just makes me feel heartened, because
Mm.
I'm someone who's very much into Ayurveda. And it's amazing to see how like my concoctions are helping people heal. Because for me, business profit is one thing, but I think more than profit, it's about ethics for me. So I
Mhm.
milk for people's health more than taste buds. Like taste buds are secondary, but it's more for people's health. Yeah.
Mm.
So I take a lot of pride in doing that. So when you try my plant milk someday, hopefully,
Yes.
you won't go back to the packaged plant milk or like even dairy. So yeah, I take a lot of pride in that. Yes.
So good. I'm so touched that you are really, really into this passion of milking for
I
people.
am. I
Yes.
am.
And it takes so much, time and
Yeah.
effort to have this going. And it's such a
Yeah.
good thing that there's someone who is willing to do it. And so thank you
Yeah.
from all us,
Oh,
all the
thank
other
you.
people.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I remember when I first started it, my mom was like, "So we send you to uni for you to milk." It sounded really funny, but I could sense the disappointment in her. Like she was completely disappointed. I could tell. But when she sees me doing it, and like a lot of people get back to me, like people with diabetes, and they were like, "Oh, because we don't use sugar, because I don't take sugar, so I'm not going to give people things that I don't take. So we sweeten them with organic maju dates. So when people get back and they were like, "Oh my god, this is so good! Like I don't miss dairy milk." And, well, that's the kind of like messages I share with my mom, and she's like, "You know what? Just do what you do." So
That's how
like
you convince people.
so I feel very happy because it's not about the dollars and cents ultimately. It's really that satisfaction that you're able to help someone like give up dairy, or you're helping someone to like move forward. There are some, of course, most of my customers are not vegans, to be honest. They are just very health conscious people, and they take meat, and some are plant-based as well. They're not vegans mostly. And when people reach out to me and say all this good stuff, it just makes it worthwhile. Yeah.
It's
So
such a
I'm
good
very
feeling.
happy. Oh, it's amazing feeling, man. It's
Yeah.
amazing feeling.
Okay. More and more people are becoming health conscious, especially in this past 2 years. Yeah, I
Yes.
must say there's a big leap on that health
Yeah.
consciousness with all of us. I mean, around the globe. Why
Yeah.
would you recommend someone to go vegan?
Okay. I am not gonna sit and preach about veganism. I feel like if someone's interested, they should go read up. But what I'm gonna say is, talking about health conscious, I believe personally, I'm not someone who believes in medications, to be very honest, just sharing my own personal opinion here. And I feel like I believe in wholesome living, which is plant-based food, like food that you get from Mother Nature, as I've already shared. So anything that has natural sunlight to support its growth, like plants, it just gives you so much of life and energy. Like, I won't say that people can change to veganism overnight. It's impossible. You need to know your strong whys, like you
Yeah.
need to know why you're doing it for. Like some people do it for the environment, some people do it for
Mhm.
the animals, some people doing it for health. For those people who are doing it for health, veganism, you definitely, like I said, just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're health conscious, because you can be eating a lot of junk food, like packaged stuff. You can be eating your all kinds of funny processed food, like your processed fake meat and stuff. So yeah, so if you're going vegan, read up, do a lot of research. My advice is go listen to your body and listen to
Mhm.
your heart. If it resonates with you, there's no harm in trying. Don't beat yourself up if you can't sustain it. It's okay, at least you tried. And I think kudos to people who take that first step. Yeah.
Ah, such a good message. Would you like to invite people to get the vegan milk? For you to promote the vegan milk to them, or maybe
Sure.
have some
I mean,
promotions going on.
yeah, sure. Probably, head on to theveganmilk.com. We are the only one in Singapore that has over 10 different varieties of nut and seed milks,
Oh.
fresh, no sugar,
Mhm.
and with very high nut content. So if you're looking for a dairy replacement, or if you just want to try something different, and you can literally feel the difference, because with dairy, right, some people's stomach, they get bloated, or they feel just off, or they, even acne issues and all this
Mhm.
stuff. Dairy comes with a whole lot of stuff. So if
Mhm.
you just want to like feel light for the day, just
Mhm.
experience the difference, head to theveganmilk.com and feel it. If you have any questions, you can always reach out via Instagram. You don't have to buy from me to like reach out to me to ask any questions. All questions will be entertained with regards to health or anything like that. So feel free, people. Yeah.
So there you have it. Ray from the vegan milk.
Oh
Go
yeah.
message her and get her vegan milk. It's good for your health and wellness.
For sure,
Okay,
for sure.
so to wrap up this episode, thank you so much, everyone, for watching this show. I hope you learned a thing or two. I think more. Yeah. Yeah. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any new episodes that comes out every Friday at 8 p.m. Singapore time. And ending this show, thank you so much again, Ray,
Thank
for
you so much,
gracing
Jeannie.
this episode.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Jeannie, for
Mm,
doing and for doing your you know what you do best, and for
mm,
inspiring a lot of women out there. Thank you for having this platform to reach out to so many women who need it. So
mm,
thank you for being inspiring, and kudos to all the other ladies who are tuning in.
mhm.
Yes, let's all stay healthy, because at the end of the day, all we truly have is our body. Let's treat it
Yes.
right with love. Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-care is
Yes,
important.
yeah. Ending this, yeah, and to end this episode with a friendly reminder to make sure to make time for your self-care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.